Hello, I'm Eric Nathan, and this is Vermont's Finest. It's a show that we're kind of having a little fun with that came about recently. Well, here's how it came about. I've been traveling a lot lately. I've been in Asia, I've been in Mexico, I've been in Central America, all around this country, and I've taken a lot of wonderful photographs. I think they're wonderful. And when I was looking at the ones, particularly of Vietnam recently, from the provinces, I was just really taken by how they expressed the life of those people. And I thought to myself, I'd really like to show them to some people. I think they would dig them. I think they'd appreciate them. And then, you know, that idea lasted about 20 minutes because I started thinking, well, who really cares about somebody's travel photos? And somehow that led me to the idea that here, where I live in Vermont, in Manchester, it's also an incredible place. And there are so many wonderful people that I know, and I'm fortunate to have relationships with, or I know of, you know, artists and theater people and headmasters and farmers and just people doing it, you know, really like making a difference and having an important say in how they're living, and they're all here. So then I said, well, you know, maybe I'll send an email to WGNA, because I've seen people have shows before, and I never did this. I don't know what camera to look into really, but I think it's this one. And they got back to me, like I expressed the idea, and 20 minutes later, I got like 2 emails. Hey, it's a great idea. Come on in. Let's talk about it. So here I am. And I'm happy to say that my first guest is someone who I know and respect. And many of you know him too because he's a force in the community. He's in charge of one of the most important parts of our community. And Mark Tashjian. Hi, Mark.
Eric, how are you?
How are you? How's that for a lead-in?
That's a pretty good lead-in.
It's what happened. That's the story.
Yeah, good.
So you.
So this is Vermont's. This is what we have for Vermont.
You are at the
Vermont's
top of,
finest.
You are the top of the heap of Vermont's finest.
Well, I'm thinking you are Vermont's finest. Well, certainly auctioneer.
Okay, great.
And it sounds like photographer because you said that
I have an iPhone.
You said you've taken wonderful photographs.
I do. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with an iPhone.
Yeah, well,
not
it is
knowing
amazing.
anything but how to point it.
Right.
But I just happen to have some great subject matter, and it's inspiring, you know. And you see other cultures and see how people live, and particularly when you go to a place like Vietnam that has such a tragic history.
Yep.
As far as America, but I don't want to really talk about that. And another thing I'll say, like for this show, I want to have people come in and I want to talk to them like you and I can talk, and just like kind of stay away from politics if possible. I know it's a really charged environment and it's easy to fall into that, but so many people are just all about like one side or the other, and you know, that's it. And I'm not that different, but this, in my plan for this whole thing, it's not what I want to do. So
let's see how it goes.
Let's see if we can stay away from that.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Because you and I talk.
Right.
But anyhow, so, you know, Mark Tashjian, headmaster of BBA. BBA is like the heart and soul of our community. And you and I have, you know, been sort of in the fire together more than a few times.
Oh, yeah.
Making sure that that happens.
Yep.
That the goodness continues, in a sense.
Right.
You know, but you know, what's it like being headmaster at BBA? I know that's a hard question to answer, but
you know, it's funny. I'm
going to have a glass of water.
I'm going to take a sip too. This is just water.
Just water, no problem.
So you know, I've got to tell you, I love being headmaster at Burr and Burton.
It shows.
I you know, I think Burr and Burton Academy was an incredible institution, is an incredible institution, you know, and it's, you know, what wraps around Burr and Burton is an unbelievable community. And so I think this job, you know, every year, you know, I get do a process with the Board of Trustees. It's an evaluation, and then I send back a reflection. And every year, I end that reflection by saying only one person gets to be headmaster of Burr and Burton Academy. And I am incredibly grateful that that person gets to be me.
Yeah.
And that's really how I feel about it, because it's rare to find a school that has Burr and Burton's, like the flexibility and the entrepreneurial thinking and the ability to create that comes with being an independent school, and we serve the public. So there are independent schools out there, and they're fancy, and you've heard of them, with big fancy national names.
Big price tags.
Big price tags and big selection processes. And they say, oh, you know, you can come and, oh, you can come to our school. You're very rich and you're very smart, and you can come to our school.
And your grandfather built a library.
Right, and there's the library here with your name on it, and you can't come because you're not quite smart enough, you didn't do this enough, you didn't do that enough. And at Burr and Burton, and that's always the feeling, like when you go to those schools, it looks incredible as long as you get to be a member of this very select club.
Yeah. And
here's a school, Burr and Burton, that's, you know, we try to bring every bit that you would get at any other high-priced independent school, but it's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
It's for your kids went to Burr and Burton.
Yeah, 2 of
My
them.
kids are going to Burr and Burton, and we serve the community.
Yeah.
And so that's really rare in this country. And I get to be the head, and and I get to represent this great school. Now, I got to tell you something, you know. So number one, what's it like? It's a labor of love, and it's a lot of fun to represent a place that is so high functioning. And I'm not claiming we're perfect.
No.
But I get to be a part of this thing that I think is really special. I could also say, if it weren't going well, it would really not be fun to be the head of Burr and Burton, because, you know, you walk down the supermarket aisle and people would be throwing tomatoes at me. And be like, I got to get out of here. This is terrible. But for 16 years, it's been going well.
That's what I was going to ask next. How long has it been? 16 years?
It's been 16 years.
That's incredible.
Well,
and you're so well, you know, of course, like what we do in this small environment, if you're sticking around for a while, you integrate, right? And your wife, Erin, who I see just about every day as I'm walking my dog up the Art Center Hill.
Right.
You know, she's the education director at the Southern Vermont Art Center.
That's correct.
So, you know, doing great stuff there with all the kids and summer camps and classes and stuff. I mean, it's wonderful.
And I like her.
You like her. I like her too.
Yeah, good.
But
thanks.
Did you ever think that you were going to be a headmaster? I mean, how'd that come about?
So, I'm not a career educator.
What were you? Like, well, I'm going to back up, because I started, you know, I'm thinking about what can I ask Mark? So I'm going to back up. Where were you born?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia? You were born there too?
I'm a Philly boy.
Oh, me too. I mean, that's the thing.
That's why
we commiserate about the Eagles.
Yes, we commiserate about the Eagles, and we have a nice Philly attitude, which most people don't like. I've worked very hard on hiding my Philly attitude, because it can get you in trouble. But you know, we understand what it means.
It's a scrappy town, man.
It's a scrappy town. Yeah.
So I was
born in Philly.
Wow. And where'd you go to college?
I went to Yale.
You went to Yale.
Yale undergrad. Yep.
And your daughter's now at Yale. Correct?
And my daughter's now at Yale.
That's impressive.
Yep. Yeah, my oldest daughter Ella is at Yale, and she's there now. She's on the gymnastics team, and
Isn't that amazing?
And she's a first year and loving it. Loving it. Yep.
That's awesome. So, I want to talk about one thing that, as unique as Burr and Burton is, what's even more unique is the mountain campus.
Mm-hmm.
And just talk about that for a second, because I don't know if everybody knows about the mountain campus.
Well, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm also going to talk about what we're doing with the mountain campus.
Okay, sure.
It sounds like you don't know, so I'm going to. I'm going to give you some breaking news. But before that, I'm going to wind it back, because you said, "Well, did you ever think you were going to be a headmaster?"
Right.
So I'm going to go back to that question to say, I grew up in Philadelphia. I went to Yale. I came out of college, and then I went into business.
Did you go to a high school in Philly too?
I went to high school in Philly, yes.
Which one?
I went to a school called Friends Central School.
Oh, Friends
Central. It's a Quaker school,
right?
Right on the outskirts of town, and it was an independent school. And quite frankly, it was the kind of independent school that I just described.
Yeah.
Of being selective admissions, and it cost a few bucks.
Right.
And it was not serving the public. Wonderful place. I had a great high school experience. Burr and Burton's better.
I'm sure it is.
And it's better in a variety of ways, including and especially creating a community from the community. And that's very powerful educationally. It's not just a kind of a democratic ideal.
Yeah, or pay as you go, like the Friends School.
No. But
Did you go right from there to college?
I went from there to college, and then coming out, I had a 13-year business career. I have my MBA.
Really?
I was a corporate strategy consultant.
Really?
And
where?
Well, I was in Connecticut and New York. I got my MBA at Wharton
Wow.
School at the University of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Back in 1988.
Damn.
And I had a career that took me all over the world, looking at long-term strategies for global corporations, major corporations. It was interesting, it was satisfying, it was exciting, I learned a ton. And then I got to my early mid-30s, and felt like there was a piece missing in my life.
How interesting.
And that piece was, when I sat back, and I know you said you don't want to get into politics.
No,
but
listen.
Now we're getting into politics.
If it's going to happen,
The biggest travesty, in my view, in this country back in the 90s when I changed careers, and to this day, the biggest travesty is the discrepancy in educational opportunity between the haves and the have-nots. If you have money in this country, you can find phenomenal education. And if you don't, you're stuck going to a school that is often underfunded based on real estate taxes in poorer communities, often failure factories, often overpopulated with neighborhood challenges.
Like perpetuating cycles of poverty, right?
It perpetuates a cycle. And so impoverished school districts have impoverished kids, and they haven't figured out how to break the cycle. So, I in my business career felt like there's something more important in this world than me making money and my trying to get, some of the most successful corporations, how to help them get even richer. And so that journey took me to East Harlem in New York City. I was living in New York City, and I basically, I threw my business career out and started teaching 5th and 6th grade math and science in East Harlem.
That's awesome.
And the first day in class was not only terrifying because I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was exhilarating because I knew why I had to get good at it.
I didn't know this about you.
Yeah. And so that was back in
I know stuff about you I can't say, but that wasn't one of them.
Thank you for not saying those things. But
that
was 1997, and I taught for 2 years in East Harlem. Wow. And then I ran a K-8 school, small school in Central Harlem. And then I went to Columbia and got my master's in education. And what I was trying to do was...
So you have an MBA and a master's in education?
I have an MBA and an MED and wow. Yeah.
A lot of initials.
I got some education, right?
You got a lot of initials following you around.
But that journey is what took me...
It's amazing.
Then after that, so I get my master's in education. Then I was head of a middle school in a very high-powered all-boys school on the Upper West Side, a school called Collegiate School.
Which proliferate on the Upper West Side, right?
Right.
These fancy schools.
Right. And
I've done a lot of auctions
at
those schools.
Yes.
You can imagine.
I can imagine. And I was there for 6 years, and it was an incredible experience to see what
6 years there?
Yeah. What the
as running the school?
I was head of the middle school. It was a K-12 school.
Right.
So I was running a division, and I got to see what what you get for $60,000 a year day school tuition.
Oh, yeah.
with these highly talented, highly motivated boys coming from really, high-powered families who were ready to support them in every possible way. And it gave me a real flavor for, what's the best that money can buy, right? And then along comes
how important is it really once you figure that out, right? You know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Like,
right.
So one side is just what's the best cost, and the other is, but are you really getting it?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like, is money really the only thing that measures that kind of success?
Right.
And
but resources are important too. And
oh yeah,
people do say, money can't solve the problem. I'm like, but money can help.
It helps.
If you don't have enough, I mean, it's easy to say money won't solve your problems unless you don't have enough. Right, and that's,
you don't have enough. You don't
and
have
I'm
that
not
luxury.
talking educationally. I'm talking about in life.
Oh yeah.
If you're living your life and you don't have enough to put food, clothing, shelter, on the table and surround your kids with a safe place, that's a very different situation than saying,
that's brutal.
If only I had even more money, then I'd be happy. And people chase the wrong thing, and then they go, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Right? So
hey, I'm still not happy.
Right, exactly. Well, the answer, if you have enough, the answer to your happiness isn't if you only get another 6 figures in the bank, then you'd be happy, or 7 figures in the bank. The answer is always, in my view, the answer is always going to be around love. And,
that's what counts.
That's what counts. That's what matters.
And
that matters in education too. And so my 6 years in this high-powered school in New York City.
So you were living in Manhattan.
And I was living in Manhattan. Yep.
That's fun.
And it was a blast.
The best.
It was a blast. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I'm a city boy who loves living here too. Me
too. I was there
yesterday. I love going back and forth.
No, believe me, I get it.
Yeah. But it's all to say that then I came up to Burr and Burton Academy.
Were they actively looking
yes,
for a replacement?
I got a phone call.
Oh, wow.
Chuck Scranton was retiring, and there was a headhunter, and calls me up about this school called Burr and Burton
Seminary
Academy.
at the time.
Yeah, it used to be Burr and Burton Seminary, and it's like, well, I'm not sure I should be. I'm not really a seminarian,
guy.
right? And I said, I'm not your guy, and they said, no, let me explain. And it took me a while to understand what Burr and Burton was. And it took me about 5 minutes to fall in love when I got up here.
But I will have to say that even though I don't doubt that for a moment, it's even more so now, under your direction.
Well,
because it meant so much to you.
Right.
I've been around a while, almost 3 times as long as you.
You're that old?
I'm not that old, but I've been around a while.
Oh, around here a while.
Around here, yeah.
How old are you, Eric?
120.
Right.
Yeah. But I feel like it some days, but no, really I don't. But I think what I'm getting at is that I've seen some headmasters who really did not display to me, and not Chuck Scranton. I thought Chuck was great. But previous to Chuck, there were, and I don't even remember the names now, but I had kids in school, and I live in the community, and you hear things, and you see things, and you just feel things. And they didn't have your soul. They didn't have your passion.
Well, thank you.
For where this community is.
Yeah.
And you know what you and I do together every year, and I see it. It's entirely evident in terms of the community involvement.
Right.
And that wouldn't happen if they didn't feel it too, right?
Right. And
So
what Eric's
huge.
talking about is every year we have a gala, and Eric is as we know, the finest auctioneer in Vermont. And
That's a stretch.
he helps convince people to be generous and support of Burr and Burton because it's a good investment, not just in education, but in this community.
No doubt.
And that's And
what are the what are the children? What role do they play in our progress and our future and our essentially our lives moving forward?
Yeah.
It's everything. The older we get. I don't know if anybody listening, there may be a lot, there may be nobody, I don't know. But if you're listening, occasionally you feel like, wow, the future kind of belongs to the next generation.
Right.
You know, that becomes apparent.
Yeah.
And I'm still vital and strong, and, you know, moving around and doing stuff, obviously, and have no intention of stopping. But I know that, you know, I'm not 18 now. I'm
Right.
not 25 or 35 or 45 either, you know?
Or 55.
Or 55.
You know, I mean,
Yeah,
I know,
I'll
the
stop
numbers
there,
add
even though
up.
I probably could keep
the
going
numbers add up.
chronologically. But
Yeah.
they add up. Time flies.
Yep.
There's not a week that goes by that 2 or 3 times I don't say, I think of an event, I think of a situation, I think of a person or a place. How could that be 20 years ago? How could
Right.
that be?
Right.
But it is.
Right.
You know, that's life. That's life. That's how we roll.
And I'll say, Eric, I have a little bit of that sense hitting 16 years at Burr and Burton, because up until this point, the longest I ever stayed in a job was 6 years, the one before. But I was looking for 2 before I found Burr and Burton. And before
Really?
that, I was, 2 years here, 3 years there, 2 years here. I really bounced around. So if you looked at my resume,
Wow.
You wouldn't have predicted that I'd be here 16 years and sitting here telling you I'm looking forward to our 200th anniversary in 2029. I'm looking forward to my little guy Al's graduation in 2032.
Wow.
And
you'll be here.
and
You'll be,
I will.
if it's up to you,
God
you'll be
willing,
here.
and the creek don't rise.
Perfect.
I will be here because this is
It's a great place to live.
it's an unbelievable place. So there's the whole background.
Yeah, perfect. That's
And
important.
what turned into an adventure for me and my wife, and at that time our 2-year-old daughter and 6-month-old daughter, Ella and Robin. It's like, well, let's go see what this is like, and that it turned into an adventure for a new and growing family. Now I have 5 kids.
Yeah, Vermont's exciting,
And-
right? I
yeah.
mean, it's a whole different thing.
And we'll
New
see
York.
what it was like.
Yeah.
How long will we stay? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But what we discovered very early on is that not only is Burr and Burton a special place, but this community is incredible in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, that's how I felt. And that's
Yeah.
why we're sitting here.
And so we dive in, and this whole notion of Vermont's finest, or what did you call it?
I call it Vermont's finest.
Vermont's finest.
I mean, it's
which is
not really a joke. It's kind of how I feel about it all.
I think that this community has so many freakishly talented people, and I think Vermont
agree.
does, and it both attracts people with a different set of values, and it keeps people with a different set of values. That,
And I
because
just-
you're not going to get, you're not going to become the richest person in the world living in Vermont.
No,
mostly
it's a get rich slow scheme.
there it is. But it's have a rich life, and
Precisely.
I didn't know about community really. I lived in New York City for 14 years. I was on the 4th floor of a building on 86th and Amsterdam, right, Upper West Side, 4th floor. There were 6 other apartments on that floor. The building was, I don't know, 25 stories. The only person I knew in that building was the dog Ethel, who lived down the hall. It was this little Boston Terrier who would come running into my apartment.
That's
And I'd
funny.
go, Ethel! I can't remember the names of Ethel's owners.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I didn't know my next door neighbors. And we move up here, and everybody knows each other. And then, someone got sick, and you do meal trains. I'd never heard of a meal train. I'm a city boy. I'm like, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, people are supporting each other and helping each other and caring about each other. I was like, I'm learning a ton. So I like to think I brought some things to this community. But what I've learned from this community, what I've learned from my colleagues at Burr and Burton, what I've learned from the kids is like, I've learned a ton, and I'm a better person for it.
I love the position you're in because you're around this young energy all the time.
Yeah.
It's not all perfect, obviously.
No.
But it's certainly keeps you vital, right?
Yes, it does.
So talk to me for a second. Talk to us about Mountain Campus, because it sounds like you're into something up there that
So
I don't
the
know
Mountain Campus, so the Mountain Campus, for those who don't know, I think you know about it, but it's a semester program. We have 100 acres of land up in Peru, and we built a LEED Platinum certified building, incredible building. It's beautiful. It's energy efficient. so you've got this building surrounded by 100 acres of national forest. 100 acres of land that we own,
land that
and
you
then
own.
thousands of acres of national forest.
Right.
It's contiguous with that. And we've been running a semester program that we launched, I want to say in 2012.
Has it been that long already?
It's been that long, yeah. And a group of kids go up there for the entire semester, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they're focused on outdoor
Do
education.
they sleep there?
They have outdoor. It's a day program.
Day program.
But over the course of the semester, they'll
be camping in the woods and
they'll
stuff.
be in the woods for 3 nights, for 4 nights.
Yep.
They travel to the Northeast Kingdom, look at eco-entrepreneurship, and it's a place-based experiential program.
And does every child participate, or only if they want to?
Only if they want to.
I see.
And therein lies the rub. So coming out of COVID, the program has suffered from very low enrollment.
Has it?
Yeah. So we have this gem of a program.
Wow.
And we don't have enough kids going there.
I'm shocked because it's all elective.
It's all elective.
Wow.
Right. And, you know, so
that's the first place I would want to go.
I know. But having said that, then you look at our main campus.
Yeah, it's pretty great too.
It's pretty great too. And again and again.
That's a different kind of great though.
It's a different kind of great. And in order to go up there, you have to miss out on the grade of the main campus. And, you know, we've got really kind of an unbelievable array of opportunities on the main campus.
No doubt.
So we're competing against ourselves. And as a result, the Mount campus enrollment has been low. And what that means is there's 2 problems with that. One is educationally. You know, the total value of what we're doing is fabulous program times number of kids. And if we're running at 50 or 60% of capacity, it means we're getting half the value that we should be, kind of, you know, conceptually.
Fair enough.
Right, so that's one problem. And then financially, you take the cost of the program and you divide it by a smaller number and you get very high per pupil costs.
Yeah.
So this is all to say, despite the wonder of the program, we're taking next year off.
No kidding.
We're going to pause the program.
Wow, I didn't know
while we need to think through the structure. We need to think through the opportunity. We need to think through why kids aren't signing up in droves.
I know why.
You would think.
I know why. Because you don't let them bring their iPhones. Right?
I mean, you know,
I just threw that out there, but I bet I'm right.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm not down on kids. Look, everybody has one.
You got one in your pocket.
It's over there.
He was playing with it before this show.
But
too.
no.
I hear what you're saying.
Like the world is so technically focused right now.
And
this is an
different.
outdoor experience. So maybe it's a generational thing, but I'd sign up just to go there.
Well, I think I would have liked it. I think I would have loved it. I know I would have loved it. I also know that the high school Mark Tashjian wouldn't have gone.
Maybe. Yeah, it's interesting.
Even though I've done a lot of wilderness camping and exploration. Yeah. I would have loved it, but I also would, I love my buddies. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
who else is going?
Everybody's playing soccer and I'm up here.
I want, and even if I could still play sports, I'd still I wanted to hang out with my friends and see them all. And what am I missing when I'm up there? And so there's more to it than that. And that's what we've got to sort out so that we can come back out of, a year-long pause and hopefully have figured out ways to make it educationally more powerful, meaning have more kids getting the experience and financially more sensible, because we are a school that serves the public. And we owe it to taxpayers to be thoughtful about our cost structure.
Yeah.
And again, so we're not, I know we talked about money and money can solve problems. We're not going to just keep spending money.
You're not going to throw money at it, right?
Oh, I mean, I'd love to be able to.
Can you draft them and say, look, you're going up there now?
Yeah. How do you think that would go?
I don't know. You're the boss.
I'm the boss. Yeah. I'll just tell kids you're going up there and see how the family feels about it.
Right.
And
that's
see how the kid feels about it. And it's
bears up there
because I know best, right?
Yeah.
And so.
No, I realize it's an elective. It functions as an elective very nicely.
To. I mean, if you don't,
no force.
I don't want a kid up there.
You can't put a kid up.
You
can't tell a kid he's going to be dancing in the next show either. if he doesn't. He's not
Exactly.
dancing.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I get
oh,
it.
it'd be good for you. Right. That's a great example. It could be good for you to dance on stage, Eric. You know, go ahead. Why don't you dance right here on camera? You'd be like, no, thanks. And so it's a strategic issue that we have to think through.
I wanted to talk about it because I'm so impressed by it.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But
I think I've raised a lot of money talking about how great it is.
I know, and kid after kid after kid will tell you, oh, it's amazing. The kids who go say it's amazing, and the kids who don't say, yeah, you know, I hear it's amazing, but.
Yeah.
And they fill in the blank, and there are a lot of blanks. So we're going to figure it out, but this is all to say next year, we're taking a pause in order to figure it out and make sure what we launch is going to be responsible.
As typical with you and your team, you know, you're approaching it really thoughtfully, and you're going to try to figure out what's going on.
We'll figure it out.
It's great. Right. You know, that's like just like intelligent problem solving 101, right?
Right.
I mean, you know, you have a problem. It's a problem. It's real.
Right.
It's not working. How do we fix it?
And if we knew how to fix it, if it was an easy fix, we'd do it. So we know it's more complicated.
So you'll maintain the property and make sure the building's heated and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
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 The international program is pretty well put on hold in COVID, right?
Yeah. So, right. And
talk about that for a minute if you can.
We were, you know, if we talk about the impact of COVID on our students, our student body, two things took place. One, our international program just plummeted because borders closed.
Yeah.
So kids couldn't travel. We had been at about 65 students, and it basically went to zero international students.
So all that housing, all the accommodation,
right,
all the staff for that, everybody's on hold.
Everything plummeted, and but it was replaced by
significant income.
Yeah, it was significant
right?
revenue, but it was replaced by COVID transplants coming up here, almost one for one. I mean, you know, our enrollment held steady because, you know, basically people moved into the area to get out of metropolitan areas, get out of high density populations, and also come to a place where schools were open. Yeah. And I'm proud to tell you, you know, I'm gonna brag a little bit on how we handled COVID. You know, we were ready for shutdown because we planned it out. We put cameras in all of our classrooms for video conferencing capability. We subscribed to this thing called Zoom that nobody had ever heard of, but we got all our kids and all of our faculty ready to go Zoom. And when COVID shutdown came, which I want to say was March 16th or March 17th, we shut down.
That was 2020.
2020, and 2 days later, we reopened as an online school.
Amazing.
We shut down on Monday night. I sent it out, and on Wednesday, classes begin. Here's your schedule. Here's how to Zoom in.
Incredible.
And we kept going, and we graduated that class in the class of 2020. We did two things at graduation. One, we held a week's worth of graduation ceremonies, one for each kid. And when I tell you I've heard pomp and circumstance a lot, we had the kid and the family walk up the center walkway to the seminary building. We played pomp and circumstance. They were in a robe as they walked up. They shook my hand. They shook Meg Kenny's hand.
It was a virtual graduation.
No, it was in person. And we did, each kid got their own graduation with a small group of family members.
So it was like individual graduation ceremonies?
Every 15 minutes.
Wow.
All day long for an entire week. Because you have to get through the math.
At that period.
You got to get through 200 kids. And each one was special.
That's so great.
And it was actually
probably
really
the most
meaningful.
Special.
It was amazing. And so.
Are you graduating about 200 kids this year
too? About 200, yeah. So we did that, and
so
then
we about 800 kids in school.
Yeah, we're 750, 760. Yeah, then we went. We Bromley Mountain gave us their parking lot, and we had a drive-in graduation ceremony where everyone parked their cars. It was like a tailgate. We rented a Diamond Vision big screen, and had our graduation speeches.
Brilliant.
And got everyone graduated together. Outdoors in this kind of remarkable setting on a beautiful day. So that was our initial response. And then we reopened in person. We were ready to open in August. The governor wouldn't let us open until after Labor Day. We reopened. Any kid who wanted to come every day could come, and others came every other day and Zoomed in the other time. So we opened as a hybrid school, which is all to say a lot of schools stayed shut or stayed remote. And families came and said, we want our kids in person.
You were proactive.
Absolutely. So a couple lessons here. When you talk about COVID and what did we learn? Obviously, we learned about Zoom.
Yeah.
And that's a lasting learning that is affected, certainly the need for office space, probably globally. As a school, and as a community, Vermont did really well because we stuck together. And, I give a lot of credit to our statewide leaders. It never turned into this fractured political battle. We all stuck together. We worked together to keep each other safe. And we also recognized that we need to be together in order to educate kids. Well, so we didn't pretend that online education was just as good. We can walk you through the curriculum. We're social animals, and
absolutely.
Kids
absolutely.
And
individually
adults,
and collectively. Right?
We need to be together, and we got people together. And I think that was a tremendously important part of the learning process, because it prevents us from falling into this trap of thinking, oh, online education is cheap, and we should just deliver education online, and and that'll be fine for kids. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, because you can't touch the heart nearly as well through Zoom as you can when you're in person.
No doubt. Which is kind of what this is all about. So I think I'm seeing a clock flash back there, and I think we have probably come to the end of our first episode, unless, Mark, you have any questions, or do you want to say anything else? It's been very joyful for me to sit and chat with you, really.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I would just say I'm honored to be your first guest.
I hope there's a second. I hope there's a second.
I hope there's a second too. But I really am. I appreciate it.
I
honor
appreciate
that.
you very much.
And I enjoy our friendship a lot, and I think you're trying to do something special here. So let's get some more people on here with Vermont's finest interviewer and auctioneer.
We will. We'll do all of that. Thanks, man.
Hey,
great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yep.